Welcome back, everyone, to another live stream episode. We are here with my buddy Apollo. We're going to be talking about a couple different topics here and there. Do you want to give an introduction about yourself, or do you want me to you want to tell a little bit of I don't know too much about you. You want to tell me like where you stand politically wise, like what do you think about the current political state of America and all those different things? Because I'm curious what you think.
So I would say that I'm center left, progressive. I believe in trying to like actually fix the issues instead of going, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. I think that America has lost the pride that it's had over the years. Um, so what
I
we
agree with that. I mean, did you see the recent Gallup polls that came out talking about how proud Republicans are versus Democrats of their country?
Yeah, I didn't see the Gallup poll, but I would assume obviously having a Republican in office is going to have that kind of sway and that kind of feel. And that and just overall, I think that people focus too much on the far right, far left, and try to like amalgamate everybody else in between.
I don't
Um,
think there's a far right really presence in this country. I think the closest thing we have to that is someone probably like Nick Fuentes or some idiot like that, probably. But we don't have any politicians that are actually like really far right. Like you call yourself center left, I would say that Trump is center right.
so I think this is where you and I are going to disagree. I think that we just in general have kind of let Trump do whatever the hell he wants, and I have like a very big issue
How is it different than
with
any other
it.
president?
Well, I have a very big issue with the 2020 election and with the framing on how it was stolen.
Well, what about the
I also,
2016 election? There's a framing on how that's stolen. They called it Russian collusion. Hillary Clinton said Russia stole the election. Nancy Pelosi also said Russia stole the election. So is it fine for one party to do it and not the other party? Is this going to be like a
no,
double
no, no.
standard
Okay,
kind of
so
thing?
no. So the difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump saying it is Donald Trump will deny it to this day.
Oh, Hillary Clinton will
And
deny it to this day.
well, I she
She's
ended up
never not
stopping.
denied it. She's
Hang on,
never
hang
not
on.
denied it.
She's not denied it, but she's not didn't continue pushing that rhetoric
Yeah,
after
because she's not in politics anymore. She has no political power or political office. She just runs a charity foundation.
yeah, but she stopped the election was stolen and it was Russian collusion rhetoric
Yeah, because she's
after
not in
she had
political
lost.
power. No, after
Right,
she
but
lost, when she lost, she kept pushing that narrative for like a whole year afterwards. And so did
was it a
Nancy
whole year
Pelosi.
afterwards?
Huh?
Was it a whole year afterwards?
I
Because I'm
mean,
pretty sure they were.
obviously, yeah, it's for the whole time. At least a couple months afterwards.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and argue. Uh, I'll agree with sure. We'll go with it for a couple months. Now the difference is Trump did it for years and years over, and I would almost be willing to bet right now that if you were to ask him, "Hey, was the 2020 election stolen?" he would say yes to this day, even though he was the one who created a fake slate of electorates and
He didn't create
tried
a
to
fake slate of electorates. And also, if there's no voter fraud going on, then why are Democrats so afraid to pass the Save America Act and get voter ID going?
the 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 difference between the voting corruption that they were trying to express back in 2020 was they were saying that the mail-in ballots were completely rigged into
Yeah, they
Biden's
found a
favor.
lot
They
of
were
dead
trying,
people voting in. That's facts. I mean, I'm not going to say it's enough to change the election, but there is definitely enough in there to be considered election fraud. There's
right. So
dead. There's been thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dead people found on voter registries. And if they're on the voter
yeah,
registry, that
and
means they're getting mail-in ballots sent to their old house address. That means people
yeah.
can take those ballots out of their house and send them in and get votes in.
So the difference between the tens of thousands of people doing the mail-in ballots versus the voter fraud that was being expressed during during the fake slate of electorates that was made and proposed and tried to be implemented, it's already through the electoral college with the fake slate of electorates. It's not doing just the individual vote counting based off of counties. That I have a
Well,
big
as
issue
far
with.
as the
So
electoral
it's
college,
already
there's fraud there too because even if you argue that illegal alien immigrants don't vote in elections, they're still counted in censuses, and those census votes is what contributes the electoral college votes. So no matter
right,
how you look
right.
at it, there's fraud going
Right.
on. There's at least
Hang
10
on,
million illegal
hang
alien
on.
immigrants in this country. That's giving them a significant amount of voting
Right.
power to Democrat states.
So the difference is you're doing one vote for if you were to steal one of those mail-in ballots, you were stealing one vote of the general census uh, count instead of doing it with the entirety of that state for the electoral college, right? Which represents tens of thousands of individual census votes.
Say that last part again.
So would you agree that the electoral college vote represents tens of thousands of individual census votes?
I don't know how many censuses they do. I know that if there's 20 million
No, no,
illegal alien
so-
immigrants in this country and the majority of them live in Democrat states, and just in California alone, this is just an estimate. If there's 2 million illegal alien immigrants in California, that would give them 5 electoral college votes. I mean, that's
right,
evidence of voter fraud right there.
right. But whenever
No one's
Trump
even
was trying
talking
to
about
push,
that. Go ahead, go ahead.
so when Trump was trying to push the fake slate of electorates, that would override the voting that was being mailed in. The what were the was it Dominion was the voting machines?
I think there's multiple types of voting machines, but yeah, and
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not going to say I
the,
agree with
the,
100% on how Trump was doing it because I think there was just fraud on too many levels to even really go after. Because how are you going to go after fraud when there's illegal alien immigrants voting, there's dead people voting, and then you got the electoral colleges, which is literally like what our election system is based on. It's not even based on popular vote. And if there's 20 million illegal alien immigrants in this country, that's probably at least my estimate would be 50 electoral college votes. That's enough to swing an election. And the majority of these illegals, they live in Democrat states. I think you agree with me because there's more benefits and there's more help for people that need it. And as far as these welfare programs that people like to abuse in these states. And not to mention, a lot of them are near the border as well, like Arizona and California.
okay, so the reason why I think that Trump trying to pull the fake slate of electorates is far worse than anyone going to somebody's mailbox and taking a mail-in ballot and filling it out for whichever political party. Because let's be real, if it was happening on one side, it happens on the other in some capacity. I'm not saying that both are one side's wrong, one side's right. What I'm saying is with voter fraud, just in general, what needs to happen is what needs to happen is we need to be more accountable instead of just going, oh no, it was stolen, this is fake, this is wrong, this side's right, this side's wrong. Like
I
that's
agree.
all.
We should
That's
be
all
more
that
accountable.
happened.
We should do if there's no voter fraud going on, then we should do a federal investigation to every single state. Federal investigate all 50 states and look through every single voting system. Look how they do everything. Look over everything. Double check everything. Mandate voter ID because in California you don't even need voter ID to vote. You can show up to the voting booth. You can tell them your name and your address to match your voter registration, and they let you vote. You don't even need proof of ID.
Yeah. So the concern for the voter ID stuff, from my understanding, is people are concerned that it's going to basically turn into a registration registration of who you are as a person. So like I know that a lot of people who are transsexual who they're concerned like apparently there's a whole separate thing for there's a whole separate like ID section for if you're trans. They put some sort of marker onto your identification. Like people are going to be fearful of, hey, we're getting registered into a different category. Why is that? And people have already.
How
Uh,
are they going to be registered as a different category? Votes are not separated by sex or gender or whatever the hell you're
right.
talking about.
Well, no. What I'm referencing more so is whenever you do the voter registration, you're gonna have to go ahead and fill out everything. And go, hey, this is what this is, and because you're having to bring your ID, your state ID, what'll happen is you have to go, hey, this is my state ID. It has to match if I want to vote. If it doesn't match, then what'll happen is people are going to be told, hey, you can't vote. So if
Well,
they're
you're
in the
bringing
middle
it
of
into another
transition.
conversation. If you want to talk about this, we can. But as far as your driver's license and your identification, all your ID cards are supposed to match your natural born sex. It's nothing to do with your gender. It's your sex, your natural born God
Right.
given sex.
So,
So, if do you believe sex can be changed, or do you just believe transgender is an idea, a thing that can be changed? Like, do you believe your gender can be changed, or can your sex also be changed?
I think that your gender is what's being changed. I think your sex is a completely separate thing.
Okay, so then
But so,
they shouldn't be putting fake sex on their identifications. Then they shouldn't be putting woman
right.
when they're men. So
Okay.
that
So
shouldn't even be a
then
problem
would
in the
you,
first place. If
so then here's how we fix that, right? And wouldn't it make sense to go ahead and throw on gender in
no, because then there's how
gender
many
expression
genders are
on the
there?
state ID?
How many genders are there? If we don't know how many
Uh,
genders there are, then how do we know how do we know how many options to give?
yeah, that's fair. So that's fair. You could
If there
do
was three
male,
genders,
female,
then we could
or
say,
other.
okay, there's these three options to put. But if there's unlimited genders, then that means you can put whatever you want on your ID card, and everyone's going to be confused because they don't. It's
Yeah.
going to just cause a bunch of
So
confusion.
right, but what I'm saying is, so like right now, if we were to talk about pronouns, right? You would have he, she, or sorry, he, him, she, her, they, them. I'm gonna be a little bigoted here. Sorry for anyone on the left. The Z Zer stuff, a little bit extreme. I
I've
think
never
we're
heard a single person. I've asked transgender. I've debated probably maybe six or seven transgenders. I've asked every single one of them what a Zer pronoun is, and none of them even knows what it means. I've never met a single
yeah,
person
and
that can explain what it means. They say it's a
so the reason why I
neoliberal
would
pronoun, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and so what I'm doing is you establish a group with science. So with he, she, they. So you have the male and female gender expressions, and then you have the other category. And so that way you can go ahead and express, hey, this is my gender, this is my sex, and so that way that kind of solves everything on that front of being represented properly. However, what'll happen is people are going to be fearful because of the transphobic hate that goes on. Like, it's shitty that we live in a world like that, but at the end of the day, I think that we're all human. We all bleed
So
red,
I
and
agree. No one should
we
be
should all be
mistreated.
American.
No one
But
should be
hang
mistreated
on, hang
based
on. Let me
on.
finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Let
ahead.
me finish. Let me finish real quick. So what happens is, what'll happen is people will go in and get categorized, and then now, hey, if there's any sort of public database, now you've got a situation where people can find you and go ahead and pursue hate for no reason other than.
That's actually a great thing to mention because you can actually, if you know my full name, you can look me up in the voter registry and find out where I live. So yeah, that is an actual problem, but it's not because of your gender identity because that has nothing to do with voting. Voting is based on your sex on your ID card. And that's another reason I just said that it should be based on sex, not gender, because then you're going to give people another reason to target you and discriminate against you. So why would
Right,
you
and
even want to open the door for that? So just keep it based on sex, right? That would just keep it nice and simple. We know how many sexes there are. It's it's a
okay,
simple
and
thing.
so then my question to you would be: is what happens when somebody has a state issued ID that is in the middle of transitioning, and they don't have that full transition, legal name change, etc., or what have you?
Well, if they haven't legally changed their name yet, then they're still by their birth name.
Right.
So what's your question?
So,
How are they going to
so my
vote?
question.
They're going
So
to have
my
to vote with their legal name, with their ID that matches.
no, for the sex. So we had talked about the them just going strictly off of sex, which that's fine with me. But what will happen is when people go to get the voter registration, there's going to be conflicting information, right? What about the people who?
What do you
What
mean
about women?
conflicting information? We already agreed that they can't change their sex. So there's not going to be any documents that say their sex changed because they can't change their sex.
Okay, then I'm gonna pivot off of that point, since what you're saying is if that's how it ends up going. Um, what about people who get divorced or
Okay, I
married?
know plenty of people in my family that have been divorced, like even two, three, four times. It's an easy process to change your name. You just go down to the courthouse, you pay the money, and they change your name. It's not really that complicated. It's not like you're going in a legal battle or legal proceedings against someone. It's a really, really simple process to change your name. You just go down to the courthouse, change your name. Like my mother has been married more than once, so it's very easy for her. I'm very familiar with this, process. It's not really that difficult to change your name.
Right, but what happens if
And by the way, they don't have to change their
some?
name. They can show their marriage certificate and they can show their divorce certificate. They don't even need to change their name back if they don't want to. They can just show they can show their
So
marriage and their divorce certificate.
okay, so question for you, because I'm not familiar with divorce certificates and when they're given out. But when does that get assigned? Because I know there's a period
The
when
minute you file for
whenever you
divorce.
consent. Okay, so
Well, once
you
both
get the
parties
divorce.
agree, once the divorce is finalized, you get the paperwork. And if it's not
Right. So what?
finalized, then you still have the same last name. So what's the big deal? It still matches your ID. It matches everything. You can go vote. There's no problem with that. And if you want to make the third argument, well, what about the cost of voter ID? I mean, I could argue that, okay, IDs don't cost that much money. We could give them all out for free. But even if we don't give them out for free, what's the big whoop? You need it. Literally, I had one time, I'm a little bit older now, but when I was like 19, 20 years old, they asked me for an ID to buy a lighter. Just a lighter. Not cigarettes, not tobacco,
Yeah,
nothing. Just to buy a
I remember.
lighter.
Yeah, I remember when they did that change.
So it's you need ID for everything. You can't even buy there's some you can't even I don't know if this is
Right.
true, but I heard you can't even buy a Sharpie marker anymore unless you're 18 because people are sniffing them and huffing them and using them as like
I think that was just a rumor, but anyway. So my question to you is: whenever somebody has conflicting information in, like, whenever they go to register, whatever, like, hey, I'm filling this out, but I'm also in the middle of the divorce, but hey, this is what's on my license. Where's that documented in the act? Like,
they don't need to
where can
document
I?
it. They share the same name. As long as all
No.
their IDs match up, there's not going to be a problem, and their name is not going to change unless they go down to the courthouse and change it, or once their divorce is finalized, then they get the divorce paperwork.
Okay. Um. So they don't need to be specific about registering to vote. Is
No,
what you're
as long
saying.
no is it, like you're asking me if they're in the middle of a divorce process. You're asking me how would they solve that problem. I'm telling you, there's not going to be a problem. It doesn't matter if my name is Joe Blow from down the street and I'm a female and I'm divorcing my husband, and his name is Joseph Joe Blow or whatever. And both of our names are their last names are Blow. It doesn't matter if we're divorcing each other or not. Our last names are Blow. Our D's say Blow on it. Everything says the same last name on it. So where is there going to be a voter problem? Like where is there going to be
Well,
a problem for them?
right, and so, like,
Like I just don't understand why they wouldn't want to pass the voter act. Like what's the big deal? Like why are they fighting tooth and nail to keep like why are they fighting tooth and nail to keep voter fraud going? Like even New Jersey, I don't know if you heard about it, but they said there was 6,700 illegal alien immigrants that were registered to vote, and the excuse they gave was it was a software error. How does that happen with a software error?
I
I'm
mean,
genuinely
glitches can do all kinds of shit. So, like, that we'll never know the actual number that was supposed to actually be put out for that ever, because if they're just going, oh, it was a software error. Okay, which digit did the software error go wrong? Right? Does that make sense?
we both agree I think that we want secure elections, right?
Yeah, obviously we would want secure elections,
Okay, so
but
why
I
wouldn't we
think
want to pass more laws? And like, I even think the Save America Act is not doing enough. I would do a full-blown federal investigation on all 50 states and how their election process goes.
so. The issue that I have with the Save America Act would be citizenship is already a requirement to vote. Now, how those non-citizen voters were able to register, that's shitty and sketchy, but I don't think there was enough. Me personally, I don't think that there was enough for them to sway the election in 2020. Because, and I'm going to refer to 2020 because that was the most recent election and most consistently debated on whether it was stolen or not. Um, Many
I don't have
eligible
enough
citizens
proof.
don't.
I don't have enough proof to provide you that the whole election was stolen, but I can tell you that Trump lost the election by one state. All he had to win was Arizona, and a middle of the night there was a massive voter dump for votes at 3 in the morning. There was 300,000 votes that came in, and like the overwhelming majority of these votes were all for Joe Biden. They literally came in the middle of the night, right before the election ended.
Well,
And
yeah.
they only
So
needed they
obviously,
only he only lost by 25,000 votes because he just needed one more state's electoral college points. So with such a slim that's like a 1% error. Like even if there was a 0.001% error rate, it would still be possible for the election to be stolen because that's just 25,000 voters. It's not like we're talking about 100,000, 300,000, 400,000, or 500,000. And it wouldn't even have to be Arizona. He could have won Georgia. He could have won just one other state with enough electoral college points, and he would have won the election. So that's why a lot of people say this. It's not because they're trying to push a
yeah.
conspiracy. It's not because
So,
they're just trying to believe like shit that's with no probability. There's definitely a probability of it happening.
all right. So the reason why the votes came in was because those were the mail-in ballots, and what needed to happen was they basically were having to hand count um, all the ballots. And if you want to make sure that everything's right before you send it, like think about it when you and I were back in school and you're taking a test and you finish up early. Sometimes you go back to double check, or like, hey, oh shit, I'm crunching for time. Let's make sure I have this right before I officially go. All right, I'm done. Right. So that could be a thing that was what was going on. I'm not going to say that that was fact or not. But to say that the election was stolen because of him losing one state. Actually, hang on. I think this is a pretty important question. Do you think that the 2020 election was stolen?
I think there was fraud. And I think it was probably there's definitely a possibility it was stolen. Like I said, I don't have any concrete evidence to present you, but considering what I told you about the census and how they're actively counting illegal alien immigrants in censuses, I mean, that's even more concerning than the voter ID to me. The fact that illegals are
Uh,
getting counted on censuses, and that's the points for the electoral college, and there's at least 2 million illegal alien immigrants in California. That's definitely a major concern. That added 5 electoral colleges that can change an election. I mean, Trump won the last election
yeah,
with like 70 electoral college points more, but in a slim race like the one with Biden and Trump, it could definitely affect the elections.
yeah, and obviously that's going to affect elections. And yeah, he had an overwhelming uh, performance in the last election, and hats off to him. I won't say that it was stolen because it definitely fucking wasn't. I He outperformed Kamala Harris. I think that the Democratic Party shouldn't have thrown her in that late, and I also think that she shot herself in the foot a couple times. Um, just obviously not being able to campaign. Hey, this is who I am, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna do it. Um,
Well, she
Led
didn't
to
have a
her kind
plan. It doesn't matter if she had 2 years to prepare. She's not going to have a plan. She's just not
well,
presidential material.
that's obviously not the case. I mean, she was VP for a reason, right?
Uh, she didn't. They didn't vote for Kamala. They voted for Biden.
Right, but you vote for
Like even
president
when
and
even
vice
when it was
president,
Trump
right?
versus Biden, I didn't even pay attention to Kamala. Like I didn't even care about who was vice president.
Right, but you vote for the president and his vice, his or her vice, right?
If most people just vote for the president. Let's be honest here. Like when I voted for Trump, I was looking at it like, okay, well, Trump is good, but I also like J.D. Vance, and I also like RFK, and I also like some other people that are a part of what he has going on. But like, I didn't vote for them. I voted for Trump.
So I think that people do need to start paying more attention to
I will say Joe
paying
Biden definitely
attention.
became vice president for a reason because he had a long, long, long political career. So I understand why he got his
Yeah,
job. Kamala Harris had a little bit of a political career, but nothing like Biden had. But I understand why Biden put her in there too, because it was also a big push because she was a black vice president. So that was another reason. Like, wasn't she the very first black vice president ever? So that was another major push for why he added her onto the ballot. Because we know people will vote just based on skin color, which is stupid, but it is true. Wouldn't you agree? Like, people would vote for, like, just to have like the first Mexican president or have the first black president, like it or not, like identity politics is a huge part of it. That's why Kamala Harris kept mentioning every second that she was black, and she, even though people kept saying her mother's Indian, she kept claiming that she was black because that's a huge thing in identity politics.
so to say that she didn't have much of a career, I think is a little bit
Well, she was a
hyperbolic.
DA. She was a DA. She did a terrible job. She kept black people in prison for small marijuana offenses and a bunch of other shit that was absolutely horrible. Yeah, I just seen Beatles in the comments say that. Yeah, I literally the same thing. And then didn't she campaign on prison reform? Wasn't that one of the things that she said she was going to do? Maybe I'm missing something.
Uh, I'm gonna be honest, don't remember.
But I
There
think
was
that'd be a little ironic. And also, Biden
sure
literally would tell
ironic, but
you, Biden would tell
so
black people if you're not black, like you can't deny the whole identity politics with the left. Like Biden said, you're not black if you don't vote for me. Kamala Harris kept pushing and pushing to tell people she's black and not Indian. Like, why is that such a talking point? Why should I vote? Why should you tell people if they don't vote for you, you're not black? Or why should Kamala or Barack Obama say I'm black, I'm black, I'm black, vote for me? Why does it matter about race? Like, that's just a stupid game. It should be merit based. That's another reason why I don't like DEI practices. They don't encourage merit based activities. Like, we shouldn't hire based on sex or race or any of that stuff because that's discriminatory. That's like against the Civil Rights Act. Like, that's literally against what Martin Luther King fought for.
I gotta say that she was a DEI candidate.
Well,
Uh,
I'm not going to say DEI
I,
candidate. I didn't say that, but I said she was using,
sorry,
she's
if I
running with, she's pushing she's pushing
right,
race identity.
right. She was campaigning on she's gonna be the first black woman in office and this, that, and the other. I won't disagree with that there, but she literally served in every section of the government before going off on that.
Was she a senator before? Was she a Congress member? I don't think so.
Okay, but still,
She was
she
just a
has a
DEA prosecutor, and she was a horrible prosecutor. Like voting for a prosecutor for president, that seems like a terrible fucking idea. I mean, wouldn't you agree if you saw someone in the future, not even Kamala Harris, let's say, someone completely different, and they were running and they were like a prosecutor? Would that be someone that you would want to put in office? Because I quite frankly, I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. That's not really someone I would really want to put in office, likely. But my mind could be changed. But right now, that's how I feel.
so. My question to you is, and I think I misspoke earlier. I think I said position. What I meant was each section. But if you think that she's not qualified enough, I would assume that you voted for Trump the
I'm not
first go
even
around back.
saying that she's not qualified enough. That was never my claim. My claim was she's running with racial identity politics. Like, why is it about identity politics? I prefer
Because
my
that
political candidates
so,
not to have any political like nonsense because that way they're probably not tied to all these other people that I don't like.
sure. So what made Trump a good candidate back in 2016, outside of him being a businessman?
What made him outside of a businessman? I mean, the businessman was, well, he's never been in politics. That's a really appealing thing for a lot of people to get like someone that's more grassroots and doesn't have like the big political people behind them.
Okay, so
Obviously, that's changed a lot by now because he's been in politics for quite a bit, so he does have more political people on his side now. But back in 2016, that was the main draw, that he didn't have all these political connections.
Yeah, so my question to you is, I'm going to make a comparison
Also,
of.
closing the border was another
Hang on.
major thing that he ran on. Go ahead, go ahead.
So I'm going to make a comparison. So you're going to tell somebody who's never gotten into a car, here's the keys, good luck.
Well, Kamala's never been president either. What did she do
But
as
she
vice
was in
president?
politics. Hang on,
What did she
was
do
in
as vice
politics.
president?
She was in politics
Okay, what did
beforehand,
she
was
do
she
in
not?
politics? What was her accomplishments?
Do you want me to
Nothing
kind of?
notable. I mean, you're gonna have to look it up. I mean, I'm sure there's something, but there's nothing notable enough for you to remember. I don't think anyone could remember off the top of their head. The only thing notable that we think of when we think of Kamala Harris is arresting black men and putting them in prison for smoking a joint. That's what we think of.
So she was the one who pushed for the Black Maternal Health Momnibus
Okay, so
Act.
that's another racial identity political thing. What about white women? Is it only about black women? What about white women? What about Asian women? What about Mexican women? Why is it always all about black women, black people? This is going against, that's what I'm saying. This is all racial bullshit. If we did this and said white people or white maternity, whatever you're talking about, they would be calling us racist as fuck. Well, tell me what you did. Can you read the whole thing? Because now I'm actually kind of curious.
Yeah, here. Let me go ahead and dive into this a little bit.
Because something that something that only helps one specific race, once again, is racist. Like, it's literally racist. Even though DEI practices majority benefit white women, is the number one beneficiary of DEI practices, but number 2 is black women, number 3 is black men, and number 4, put on the very bottom of the list, I'm not even going to say number 4, because number 4 would probably be Hispanics, but number 5 is going to be white people. We're going to be put on the last of the list. And it's because people think in this country that white people have been given way too much privileges, so now that we got to focus on black people all of a sudden and give them special privileges because they believe white people were like given some special privileges, and segregation is over, all that stuff is done. Yes, DEI is racist. You can look it up yourself. Look up, who does DEI benefit the most? If it benefits white women the most, that means it's racist. It's not supposed to benefit one particular group more than another. That would be favoritism. That's a form of, especially if it's with racial identity, that's a form of racism.
Okay, so the Momnibus Act, it was brought by the Black Maternal Health Caucus, which is, it was a group of black women coming together and going, hey, this is something that we want to push for. So what ended up happening is it extended WIC eligibility. It made critical investments in social determinants of health that influence maternal health outcomes like housing, transportation, and nutrition. Provided funding to community-based organizations that are working to improve maternal health outcomes and promote equity. Increased funding programs for maternal health care for veterans. Grew and diversified perinatal workforce to ensure that every mom in America receives maternal health care and support that they from people that they trust. I'm just kind of
that sounds good. That sounds all fine and dandy. As long as it's not just a black woman.
Yeah, no.
Nice.
It was.
But
it
look
was,
at the state of California.
It was for everybody.
Yeah, but look at the state of California. Look at the state of California today. It's not exactly something that you would want to be proud of. But here, I want to respond to this thing that someone said. Someone said, give me a single example of a DEI policy under Biden or Obama that you disagree with. I disagree with giving businesses a tax credit or a tax write-off based on DEI hiring. That is literally incentivizing hiring people that are not white men It's literally incentivizing having a diverse hiring team over having the most capable, competent hiring team, capable, competent employees. We're supposed to hire people based on merit. We're not supposed to give tax deductions based on race. We're supposed to uh, only benefit people that hire based on merit, not based on race. And if DEI is saying, well, if you have some black people or some gay people or some women in here, we're going to give you a tax credit, then that would be discrimination. That's literally against the Civil Rights Act. Black women in New York City abort thousands of more babies than they birth. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible, man. I didn't even need to think about that. That makes me sad. Is there anything you wanted to say, or do you want me to move on to something else?
We can.
Do you disagree with DEI, or what do you think about DEI? I think black people are so smart. I think they're so smart that they don't need some kind of special privilege to get hired. They're good at what they do. When they focus in on stuff, they're really good at what they do. So they don't need some kind of special tax deduction or some kind of special incentive to get hired. Because if you think they need some kind of special tax incentive to get hired, doesn't that mean that you think black people aren't good as white people? Isn't that what that would imply? Because I don't believe that.
So I think that people, whenever you think of whenever you think of somebody in customer service, a lot of people kind of default to that stereotypical attractive person, um, and a lot of people tend to kind of default to white, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, whatever. And so I think diversifying the workforce, if it's not like specific qualified or skilled position, then I think that it would be perfectly fine to do so.
Say that last part again.
I think that if it's a non-qualified position, I think it would be perfectly fine to hire somebody based off of, hey, I want to diversify my workforce.
What do you mean? What's a non-qualified position? What's a non-qualified position? Even if you work at McDonald's, they're going to
Sorry.
hire people that have experience over not having experience.
Yeah, right, but they also do hire basically anybody that
Yeah,
they
they hire
hire.
when they can because McDonald's is always hiring and firing. They have like the fastest rotation of employees. But
Yeah,
generally, they'll
it's a
hire you. If
revolving
you have
window.
restaurant experience,
Yeah,
they're gonna hire you more than like if you go to McDonald's and say, "Hey, I worked at this restaurant. I worked at Golden Corral." They're gonna hire you more than a guy that just got out of high school that doesn't have any job experience. I'm not saying both people won't get hired, but having experience is always gonna put you above the next person.
right. But I also think that due to social stereotypes and things like that, a lot of people will like. So I grew up in Baltimore, um, and I've quite literally seen, hey, uh, let me go in and apply in person to this job, right? And they've gone, hey, get out, I don't like it, and
Yeah,
then
people
I've gone
discriminate
in and
all the
applied.
time, but there's no way to
Yeah,
stop that.
but doesn't DEI kind of discourage discrimination?
No, it discriminates against white people. It's saying that if you hire a woman or a homosexual or a black man before you hire a white man, we will give you special privileges and we'll give you a tax deduction. Because a white straight
So,
man that's not disabled, just like a regular guy like me, they're put at the bottom of the list. There's statistics out there about the disproportionality on who DEI practices benefit.
well, yeah, obviously, so it's going to be skewed against the majority of the population, right? Wouldn't you agree that the majority of the United States population is uh, uh, was wouldn't you agree that the majority of the U.S. population is white?
Yeah, 60% of the US population is white. That's correct.
And so, wouldn't you say that by incentivizing hiring somebody who's not white would be a good thing because you can
No, because
find.
there's a bigger white workforce. So you're going to give the larger workforce less incentives to be hired. That's going to cause mass unemployment. If the majority of the workforce is white, and you're saying, okay, let's incentivize hiring non-white people, then that's only going to make the majority of the workers make it harder for them. And not to mention, if the population of the, if you live in a neighborhood, if you live in an area or a city where 90% of people are white, of course, probably 90% of your hiring is going to be white as well. And why would we incentivize a black man or a black woman or a white woman instead that doesn't have the same qualifications as a white straight man just because we're going to get a tax deduction or just because we're going to get benefits from the government?
Okay, so the point of DEI was to try to diversify the workforce. So if there's people coming in with the same qualifications, what will happen is a lot of people will go ahead and hire based off of social stereotypes, etc., or like
They
pre-made
shouldn't
judgment.
do that. They shouldn't do that,
They
right?
should.
That's
They
wrong.
shouldn't.
That's
Right.
wrong.
Right. They shouldn't. So why not give incentives to go ahead and almost guarantee that doesn't happen?
Give incentives to what? To guarantee that a you can't
So
give
no, no, no,
incentives for
hang on.
that. If you give incentives to hire anyone, that's if
The
you give
the
money for
incentive would
hiring
the
anyone,
incentive would be the incentive would be the tax benefit or the tax cut, like you had brought
yeah,
up, right? To
hmm
hire somebody else,
yeah,
to
that
hire
should not
somebody
be
else with the
allowed.
same qualification.
They don't even have. They're not even. That's the thing. DEI doesn't even. It doesn't even give like it doesn't encourage hiring people of the same qualifications. It encourages hiring people with either equal qualifications, less qualifications, because they're going to get more money for them. Like they're going to have less. They're going to have less taxes for hiring those people. Like I don't know.
Sure.
I think DEI practices are bad. I think our country's doing like I think our hiring is like it's not like you see all these like if there was really like racial discrimination going on for black people or black women or white women that they can't get. I mean, white women are probably more likely to get hired than like anyone else. So I don't think that we should be giving incentives for white women to get employed because yeah, I mean they're a smaller minority of the group than or actually no, there's well, 60% of the population is white. I think there's more women than there are men. So there's also a larger amount of women. So we're going to be giving the bigger population size with women, which we already know. You know, a lot of cases women get hired easier than men because a lot of women are very attractive, and we know that bosses and people like to have attractive employees sometimes. Let's be honest. So they're already likely to hire those
Yeah,
people a lot.
there's a genuine science behind having an attractive female as a secretary compared to some big dude, right? Like it's a sociology aspect. But like you had brought up, I think that we would be arguing a completely different side of things if it was hiring men compared to women. If they were same qualifications, all it was just hiring based off of like it. I
We
think the
shouldn't give
intention.
hiring incentives at
I
all.
Yeah, and so what I think the thought is a good idea. Like, hey, it incentivizes diversifying your workforce, but I think how they're going about it isn't the best, right?
We could have used all that DEI money to like I'm not even for this, but we could use all that DEI money to help younger people get into the workforce. Because we already know that
Uh,
Generation Z and the millennial generation is the more unemployed generation. So we could just do that. It wouldn't even be based on race. We could just open up like things like Job Corps. I don't think Job Corps really do the best, but we could make like a private business that's like Job Corps or something like that that can help people get jobs and stuff like that. But it shouldn't be based on race or anything like that. But we could have something like that. We could use all the money that we spend on DEI to help people get in the trades or help people that are just getting out of high school that
so
don't want
hang
to
on.
go to
So
college get some kind of
okay. So the issue with the workforce is we've made the appeal and like attractive workforce. We've made that like software engineering and stuff like that because people are the generations like I'm 29 about to be 30. How old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so yeah, you and I are basically cut from relatively the same time, same cloth. Um, so like I remember we'd fucking get home from school and we'd be rocking some Black Ops on Xbox 360 because video games were fun back then, and we'd jam out, and so that made an appeal towards going into that kind of field, right? I
Yeah.
think that I don't think that taking money away from other organizations to try to push
We're
for
not taking any
trade.
money away. We're just going to get rid of those tax cuts. I mean, I'm sure you probably want to get rid of those tax cuts for those billionaires and those trillionaires. Those same corporations that you complain about are the same corporations that are getting those DEI tax cuts that are also very, very immoral and basically racist and sexist at the same time.
So the point that I was going to make is we've made it attractive to go to college and get into like software engineering and like
Mm-hmm.
computer
Yeah.
sciences. And what'll happen eventually is people are going to go, oh shit, I don't know how to fix a toilet. And plumbers are about to start getting paid a lot more because what'll
No one's
happen is
becoming
nobody
plumbers
knows.
right now. That's why.
Yeah,
Because there's
yeah,
no one
exactly.
incentivizing
Exactly.
trades.
It, it- right, but it kind of fluctuates back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Um, yes, I did play SOCOM, Jimmy 45481. But uh, what'll happen is, and what generally happens is, we see an influx of, hey, this field is booming and popular, everybody's getting into it, and so since everybody's getting into it, the other jobs that people don't aren't getting into at that time see a pay increase because it turns into a specialist field, right? And so people will end up going, "Hey, plumbers, electricians, carpenters, etc. are just just rolling in the money." Like I know a plumber buddy of mine. He starts his truck up for $80. And so what'll happen is eventually we'll start to see an interest in, hey, I want to go into this field.
We're not going to see that kind of interest. I don't think we're going to see any kind of interest in trades because everyone just wants to, everyone wants to just like you said, everyone wants to be software engineers. Everyone wants to work from home. We have like a whole generation of people that want to be like remote workers, especially with the COVID situation going on. Like if people can avoid leaving their house to make money this generation, they rather just take the smaller. They rather take the pay cut and just stay at home. Like, let's be honest here. Like,
Right,
we have
but
especially since COVID, there's like
so
a whole generation of remote workers that like do not like want to go to the office or do not want to do anything like that. I mean, that's one of the reasons,
so
like you said before. I think you agree that it's one of the reasons that plumbers are becoming in such demand because people that are between the ages of 18 and 30 years old, they're not really interested in going into trades, even though like it's very high paying, it's very rewarding, and they should be looking at this because, especially the younger people that are like thinking about going to college or like if they don't have anything they want to do specifically, they should be looking at trades. I think.
yeah, I think what'll happen is eventually those work fields are going to get so expensive that people need carpenters, plumbers, electricians, right? Like that's just a need that's always going to be around. Um, and when there's only Jim who's been doing it for 50 years, he can charge whatever he wants, and then people are going to go talk to Jim at some point, and his grandkids are going to go, "Oh, my grandpa makes a buttload of money. I want to get into that." And what will eventually happen is people are going to talk
Hopefully.
about, hey, yeah, like I think that manual labor eventually is going to turn into a high paying field because the lack of people in it. Um,
I
and
agree.
so
I think we agree. But what do you think about as far as the like? How do you feel as far as like the illegal alien immigration problem? Because like one of my friends in chat said he's never seen a construction company say they don't need more men. And part of the thing that's true, but part of the thing if there's a bunch of employees and they're all illegal alien immigrants and they're getting paid under the counter, that's going to lower wages. Like that's going to lower wages. There's no way around it. It's going to lower wages. And for these construction jobs, this is a perfect job for people just getting out of high school or people that just want to make money without going to school or going to college. But when we have these illegal alien immigrants coming in, I'm from Florida. There's a lot of them down here in the construction business, but like that's just going to lower wages overall. So I like that's something we got to take care of, and I think ICE, needs to step it up a little bit.
So with the immigration issue, I think that what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to either expedite the naturalization program, or
I agree on
just
that, but we're not going to
or
reward the
just
criminals that came in here illegally. We can expedite the people that have been pending citizenship for 20 years.
right. But hang on. But if you expedite the process of them getting their citizenship and naturalization, wouldn't that lead to more incentive to, hey, let me just go ahead and do it the right way instead of taking 9 years,
Yeah, sure. I'm
9 years
all
to get
for that.
citizenship?
We need
So
reform in the immigration system, but I'm
so
not. I don't believe we should let everybody in at the same time. Like if we have 10 million illegal alien immigrants in this country, that's 10 million jobs that could go to Americans. I mean, we do have more. Yeah, that could definitely go toward Americans because I think we have 7 million jobs available and 7.4 million people on unemployment. So if we kicked out 10 million illegal alien immigrants from those jobs, that would be 17 million jobs that would be opened up, and maybe some of those 7 million people that are collecting unemployment could have more opportunities to get one of those jobs. We wouldn't even have to create new businesses. We wouldn't even have to add anything to the economy. We would just have to remove people and add Americans. Even H-1B visas, you know, those jobs should be given to Americans first. That's something I disagree with Trump about. He limited it, but I would have just completely cut it off altogether. But I want
okay,
legal
so
immigrant. I
uh,
want legal immigration. I really,
yeah,
really do. But I
and,
don't
and
want to let
so
like 10 million people come in. It has to be like limited.
so if we were to expedite the process and allow citizenship, naturalization to be a lot quicker, I think what would happen is you would see the filtration process, not for a lack of a better word, like we'd be able to go, hey, no, you're affiliated with, you know, the cartel or
Yeah, but the
whatever,
the
like.
citizenship stuff doesn't even come really until later down in the line. They have to apply for a visa first. They have to live here for 5 years before they can even apply for citizenship. So, I mean, and as far as getting visas, I can go through a whole list of all the visas that they offer. Especially if you're coming from Mexico. If you know what NAFTA is, if you've heard of the NAFTA agreement, if you have a contract to work on a farm, like say there's a farm in Texas that wants to hire Mexicans or whatever, and you have some people over in Mexico, you send them the contract of them coming in to work into America, then you can come to the border and you can present the paperwork and they can issue a work permit the same day. Like that's one of the great parts. That's one of the great, things that we have going on. So I like even if you don't want to go through that route, there's other visas you can apply for, and they'll take maybe 30 to 90 days to process and get you into the country. So going through the right way is really not that difficult. And I'm speaking as someone that's lived in 3 other countries before. I've filed for many visas before, and I've gone through this paperwork process before. And I even have
Right.
like one friend that's an immigration attorney, and he's told me like the visa process for America is like very, very easy comparatively to other countries. Like that's why I have a hard time believing when people tell me, "Oh, these are just people that are coming here for a better life. The only reason they came in illegally is because it's so hard to come here." Well, if you're coming from Mexico, it's really not that difficult to come over to America. The process is very, very simple. But if you're coming from like other countries, it could be a little bit more difficult. But most of the illegals in this country are probably Mexican or somewhere down the southern border. So I don't really see their morality or the reason why they would come into this country illegally, other than they like really just want to come in right away and they don't have any patience, or maybe maybe they don't, I don't know.
Well, so do you remember like in early 2010s and maybe even the late 2000s,
Yeah.
the cartel was like just popping off. Like it seemed like all you heard about was Hispanic and
El
Mexican gang
Chapo.
violence. Oh
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
El
when El Chapo was
Chapo.
still free on the streets.
Yeah, and so like in situations like that, I think that's more common than what we as Americans realize. Um, and it may not be happening to the same extent or like uh, uh, the same size as what El Chapo was doing running the cartel. But like in situations like that, people are going to be fearing for their lives, and so to tell them, "Hey, you got to wait 3 months to see if you can get approved."
I have
Honestly,
friends that live in Mexico. They're safe. They're fine. There's certain
right?
areas where the
Well,
cartel is, but they can. And by the way, Mexico isn't the only place they can go to. They can go to Guatemala. There's plenty of places, even Central America. They can go to Costa Rica. They can go to Panama. They can go to all these other Hispanic countries. And if they go to a country that's like below Mexico, it's even easier to immigrate there for them than it is America. A Mexican person can go over to anywhere south of the border and stay there for 3 months visa free, and then they can apply for a work permit or whatever they want from there. They don't have to come to America. And if
well,
you are fleeing from real, like if you're fleeing from real violence, then you can apply for asylum. But as far as our asylum program right now, I do agree with what's that bald guy's name again? That's Trump's advisor kind of guy. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. The real
uh,
the real skinny thin dude. I forget what his name was, but he was basically saying that we're not going to be given asylum anymore inside of America. We're going to give people asylum. We're going to help them get asylum, but it's not going to be in America. We're going to send them to other countries. We've made agreements with other countries to send our asylum seekers over there because America isn't just for people that are just trying to escape violence. Okay, that's not a reason that you should be
I'm not.
allowed to
I'm
come
not
into our
saying
country. It's a
that.
privilege to be an American. I think you would agree.
Yeah, it's definitely a privilege, but I also think that it's the advertising that we did. Wouldn't you agree that we advertised America as the land of opportunity and the land of the
Yeah, it
free?
is the land of opportunity. So if you
Yeah.
want to
So,
come to the
so
land of
why?
opportunity,
So
come through the right way.
right, but if you're going, if you have to choose between the land of opportunity and the land of the free versus Guatemala, like
I understand why they do it, but I'm just saying that a moral reason is not saying that you're escaping violence because there's other countries that are safer. I know they come here because the economy is stronger. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and deny that. But at the
yeah, well,
same time, you know,
it's one of the factors. That's all that I'm saying. It's one of the big factors. That's it.
I mean, as far as what do you think about what do you think about ICE in general? And also, this guy says if you're a man and you are fleeing your community and your family, I have no respect for you. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but I don't think that. So, from my understanding, I don't think many people are just going, "All right, I got to dip. Bye, family. Good luck." I'm pretty sure that they're trying to, hey, let me go ahead and go over there, and make sure that I can find a way to get you in and out. Basically, scout ahead,
Well,
right?
most of the illegal alien immigrants that come into our country are military-aged men, and most of them never even bring their family over. So I'm just kind of confused on that whole thing.
So
They send a lot of money back to
sure.
Mexico, but let's just move on to the
Well,
topic
yeah.
of ICE if you want. If you want to talk about ICE and how you feel about
Oh, yeah,
ICE.
sure. I once again, I think it's a good idea fairy moment. So the good idea fairy is an expression used for like, hey, sounds good, but how do we implement it correctly? I think that needs more training. I think that also our police force needs more training. I think that just in general, if you are being tasked with handling people who are going to end up being combative, there needs to be
Sure, I agree
Like,
there, but as
far
far as
more
their
intense
tactics that they
training.
use, they should use the same exact tactics they use to chase down any other criminal. Meaning that if they're in a school, if they're in a church, if they're hiding under someone's property, if they're hiding whatever, do the same tactics you use to get other criminals. Kick in their doors,
Right.
go into their schools, kick in
So
the church door, do what you got to do to find them and drag them out of there. It should be just
so do
like
you
every
think
other criminal. Otherwise, we'd be giving special privileges. Otherwise, we'd be saying American criminals get their door kicked in, but illegal alien immigrants, nothing happens to them. We have to treat everyone the same.
okay, so would you treat somebody the same who stole a candy bar versus somebody who has
If you stole a
bank
candy
robber?
bar, if you stole a
Yeah,
candy
hey,
bar, yeah, you should. We should kick your door in and arrest you. I mean,
okay,
I
then
think that's a misdemeanor. I think that's a misdemeanor. So whatever the crime is
I
for it, whatever the
yeah,
felony, whatever the crime for it is, you should face the punishment. You should face the
yeah,
punishment. Whatever the
sure.
punishment is, you should face it. I don't know what the punishment for stealing a candy bar is. It depends your state. Most states are not going to prosecute you for stealing a candy bar. So the answer is the
Right,
punishment for
because
that crime would be nothing. But this
right,
is
because
not it's not the same though.
right, that's what I'm saying. It's not the same. And so if you're not going around dealing with non-stuff like not
But
every
they're
single
stealing
illegal
way more
immigrant.
than a candy bar. They're stealing
uh,
way more than a candy bar. 60,
Right,
63% of households that are headed by illegal alien immigrants receive some form of welfare. Rather, their children were born here and they receive food stamps via their social security numbers of their naturalized children, or they're receiving state health care, which some states cover health care for illegal alien undocumented immigrants. I mean, they're taking a lot more than a candy bar from our country. We can even go over the numbers. They're a deficit by $160 billion a year. Just for their children to go to school, it costs us $18,000 a year per child to put people in the public school system. So it's costing us a lot more than a candy bar. It's a lot bigger deal than just stealing a candy bar. You're literally
so
breaking into another country, you're invading it. It's basically an act of invasion. I mean, that's why we had the what is it called? The what was that bill called? The Alien Enemies Act. Yeah, that's why we had the Alien Enemies Act, because the whole thing about the Alien Enemies Act is it looks as foreign people that are jumping over our border as invaders, because that's what they are.
okay, so the point that I was going to make is not all of the illegal aliens are going to be combative or hostile in nature. So if you're going in, kicking in doors, obviously people are going to be fleeing. Like if somebody were to kick in your door right now and you didn't know what was going on, and they round the corner with an M4, you're probably going to go, "Oh shit, let me back the hell up or get the hell out of Dodge," and you're going to run,
If they're
right?
saying police, police, we're kicking in your door. It's ICE. Open up. Yeah, I'm gonna put my hands above my head and I'm gonna open the door.
Right. So, or but you were saying that we need to kick in doors, we need to flip tables, we need to do all this other stuff, and that's just only going to escalate the issue, right? And so once
We
again,
should
that kind of goes
escalate
back to
the issue. We should escalate it because they escalated by bringing problems to our country. Every single
okay.
crime
So
committed
es-
by an illegal
so
alien immigrant is a crime that didn't need to happen in the first place.
so you think that escalating the issue is going to result in people going, "Oh shit, yeah, we should actually just listen."
Yeah, yeah. The harsher punishments you give and the more policing you do, the safer your country is going to be.
Okay, so
For
in terms of
actual
escalate,
crimes. I'm not just talking
in
about like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
hang
not.
on,
Go ahead,
hang
go
on.
ahead.
So in terms of escalating situations, if you're in a bar and some dude's hitting on your girl, are you just gonna walk up and fucking deck him?
Well, how is this even related to the conversation? I'm just honestly
Because
curious.
because you're escalating the issue, right?
It's not the same thing. It's not even comparable. That would be an illegal action. I'm talking about following the law. I'm talking about enforcing
So does
federal laws.
does ICE issue search warrants? Does ICE do
Yeah, ICE has their own version of search warrants. There's two different types of search warrants ICE uses. There's a federal warrant that is used to search people's houses, and then there's an ICE warrant which you can, kick in someone's door and pull them out of their house. So there's two different types of warrants. One's signed by a judge, one's issued by a judge, and one is issued by ICE. They can issue their own.
right? So with them issuing their own warrants, they can just go, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this now instead of going, hey, let me go ahead and get it authorized by somebody.
They are authorized. They're authorized by the higher ups. Listen, I'm not the one that invented these federal laws. These were all voted on and they were all passed because they thought this was the best way to do things. And this was long before Trump, long, long before Trump. So,
Right, but we didn't have an agency that was um, being being initiated and being used to this capacity.
well, we had ICE back since 2001, but before ICE, we had another immigration policing force. So we've always had this for at least the last 100 years. We've had real strong immigration policing.
Right, but that wasn't my question. My question was is we haven't had an organization activated in this capacity, right?
It's been like this for 25 years. Obama did the exact same thing. Obama went into schools and churches and he rounded people up. He pulled them out. He ripped people out. He did the exact same thing. In fact, Obama deported 5 million people, and 80% of them didn't even get due process because the majority of them were found within 200 miles of the border. So they just got turned right around. There's also the, what is it called? The, it was a bill that Bill Clinton passed. Basically, it was a bill saying that if an illegal alien immigrant is found within 200 miles of the border, you can just deport them back. They don't have to have a court hearing. They don't have to go through any process. That is their process. They don't have a citizenship. They don't
Right.
have a passport. They don't have an ID. Turn them around. Send them back to Mexico.
But we didn't have an agency going out and announcing to a city, hey, we're going to show up and we're going to be kicking in doors and we're going to
Oh,
be
they did that
pulling
under
people out of the
Obama.
house.
They did that under Obama.
Right.
It was on television. Obama put kids in
But,
cages.
right, and so did Trump.
He made some better facilities for them. He made some better facilities. I haven't seen any images of Trump putting kids in cages recently, so I can't confirm or deny that's true. But either way, I'm not even against it. Round these people up and deport them.
So then why would you try to use Obama putting kids in cages as a
Well, I'm just
way
saying
of
they did
going
the
about it?
same exact things, right?
Right, but we haven't had an agency where, like ICE is doing
ICE
currently.
was back
Now,
then. What was the
hang on.
difference? It was the
Let
same
me go ahead
guy.
and
It was Tom Homan. We had the same
yeah,
person in charge of ICE
yeah.
doing the same
If you would
exact
actually let
shit.
me hang on, if you
Go
would
ahead,
let
go
me
ahead.
actually finish, if you would actually let me finish a point, I can say. So, we haven't had ICE go around going, hey, we are going to go into this city and we're going to basically shut everything down and we're going to go, hey, we're grabbing all of the illegal immigrants. Like hell in Charlotte, um, they they were going, hey, we're gonna show up to the damn airport. What are you gonna do about it? We're gonna stop and we're gonna go in and grab everybody.
At the
I've
airport,
not
illegal
heard
alien
that.
immigrants don't come from the airport. Why would they go to the airport? Are you talking about during the government shutdown when they were working at airports? Because illegal alien immigrants don't come in through the border at airports. They
So
come in
so
through the border on a boat.
so what they were doing is what they were doing is they went down to
I've never heard
forget the name
of this. Go ahead, though.
I forget the name of the airport, but I'm having a complete brain fart. But they were in the airport and stopping people who had
Fake
any sort of
passports?
they were stopping anybody who they suspected as an illegal alien.
Yeah, they already have. They've always had that at the airports. Immigration and customs enforcement, when you leave the country and come back in, they check everything.
Yeah,
When you're at the
but
border at the airport, they've
right?
always
Shouldn't
had
that
that.
hang on? Shouldn't that be a job? Shouldn't that be a job for customs and the people working at the airport
What does
instead of
ICE
ICE
stand
coming?
for? What does ICE stand for? It's
The
literally in their
immigration
name.
crimes.
Immigration and
Sorry,
customs. Immigration and what was it? Immigration, U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement. So yeah, this is U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's literally in their job role.
but okay, but once again, we haven't had ICE ineffectiveness at this capacity before, correct?
What do you mean at this capacity? We had more deportations under Obama.
Okay, maybe at this capacity, at this publicity.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of bad publicity because Trump is very much hated. So yeah, there's going to be bad publicity about, someone that's very hated by a particular group of people. Yeah. I mean, the only reason that Trump is even targeting a specific cities is because sanctuary cities didn't exist back when Obama was president. We didn't have these cities saying that they're going to deny immigration customs enforcement. We didn't have that. Back then, everyone was just working with the president. Everyone got along more. Now we got cities saying that they're not going to give up illegal alien criminals.
Right. So the difference is we haven't been as public and as
Well, Trump doesn't
as
control what the
as
news posts. Trump can't control what Fox News or CNN post or MSNBC posts. Those are private companies. Just
so
because
we
they're
haven't had.
reporting on it now, just because they're reporting on it, making news stories every other day about it, doesn't mean that it's any different than what happened under Obama. We had the same person running ICE. How can it be any different when the literal guy running ICE, Tom Homan, was the exact same person back when Obama was president? Not to mention, Barack Obama literally gave a medal to Tom Homan for being such a good guy. He gave him some kind of award or some kind of presidential medal or whatever. And now everyone's demonizing Tom Homan and saying that he's a piece of shit for kicking doors in just like he did back then. Even threatening the man's family, threatening to unalive his whole family. It's crazy. Pretty sure he even had to like sell his house and move somewhere else. All because of all these social media posts and this MSNBC and this CNN, like saying that he's such a bad guy for catching also ICE catches more sexual predators than the regular police does. They catch more sexual predators than the FBI. So they're catching more hardcore criminals, more PDF files than any other policing organization. I don't think you want to abolish ICE, but I kind of think that's like if someone says they want to reform ICE, okay, fine. We can give them whatever you want. Body cam, sure. More training, sure. But just saying you want to abolish them is fucking nuts. Like, what are we going to do with these 20 million illegal alien immigrants? Not to mention, like, every single crime by them is a crime that didn't have to happen. Every single time a woman is murdered by an illegal alien immigrant, that's a crime that never needed to happen if we would have just enforced our borders in the first place.
Okay, so there's a lot to respond to, but during Obama's administration and Biden's administration, were they just going after anybody and everybody, or was it a targeted investigation beforehand? Going,
Biden,
hey,
well,
let me go ahead.
it's a targeted investigation right now too. We're the first people we're targeting. We're spending the most time trying to target the worst of the worst. But if we come across any of these other illegal alien immigrants, which a lot of the times they're together, like they hang out together for obvious reasons, we don't even gonna get into that. But a lot of times when they kick in the door, they find 10 other illegal alien immigrants hiding inside. So it's not that it's not that they're targeting, the people that just jumped over the border first. They're trying to target the criminals first. But if they come across people that just jumped over the border, they're jumping over the border. And this is the first time in history of America where we're actually paying people to leave the country. We're giving them $1,000 or $2,000 and a free plane ticket home. I mean, how much nicer can we be? Like, they don't even have to go back to Mexico. We will fly them to any country they want in the world. It just can't be America. If they want to go to Guatemala, Argentina, you just let the border people know and you fill out the application and you can get sent where you want to go.
Okay, so you had said that we're with the Trump administration, ICE, they were specifically targeting more of the hostile and violent illegal
I mean, that's
aliens.
what Tom Homan said, and he's the guy that worked for Barack Obama.
Right. So then, why are we seeing more cases of people who are legal legal immigrants, or even just citizens getting stopped and arrested by ICE and being threatened with
We aren't
deportation?
we
Why are
aren't seeing any
more?
we aren't seeing any more. There's no increase of citizens being detained. The detainment rate is the same as it was back then. And as far as U.S. citizens being deported, that's never happened.
That's
But
never
sure, people
happened.
get not under Trump, not yet, not yet at least. Unless there's a specific case you can give me. I know a couple cases under Barack Obama, so I wouldn't be surprised if one or two might happen eventually under Trump. But overall, no, that's not really happening. I can't. I've looked through case after case
So
after case after case for over a year, and I haven't seen anything.
okay, so according to the Government Accountability Office report, it was found in 2015, 2020. ICE had arrested 674 potential U.S. citizens, detained 121, and wrongfully deported 70 individuals. That was under Trump's first administration.
What year did
I
you
don't
say?
think 2015 and 20 between 2015 and 2020.
Okay, well, Obama was
So
president in 2015, and in 2020, Trump left office. So Biden was president. So what's your point here? That they all wrongfully deport people?
yeah, so your claim was that it hadn't happened underneath Trump's administration when it has.
Which people? What are the names of the people that were wrongfully deported?
Okay, so let's see.
And how are they wrongfully deported? What's the case? I'm talking about recently. I'm talking about this term. But
So
well, you just admitted that it happened under Biden and Obama. So what's the difference?
I wasn't the one who made the claim that it hadn't happened underneath
It
Trump.
hasn't happened recently in this term. It hasn't happened. And I don't even think it has happened in this previous term. You're going to have to give me specific names so I can look into them.
Okay, so this is part of why I was asking you before we hopped on to figure out what topics, and then I could do a little
No,
bit more
take your
research.
time. Take your time. You
Yeah.
don't feel pressure at all. Find what you want to find. But at the end of the day, if it's happening under every president, I do know one thing though. Barack Obama is the president that held an American citizen for 1,000 days, claiming that he wasn't even a citizen. For over 1,000 days. I'd rather just get
You
deported.
talked
I'd
about.
rather just get deported than stay in prison for 1,000 days. At least Trump gives you the option. He says you can stay in prison or you can self-deport.
Are you talking about that Davino Watson guy?
I don't
Is
remember
that
his
who you're
name.
referencing?
If you're looking on Google, that's probably him. If he was held for
Um,
over 1,000 days, that's probably him.
yeah, it says that he was an American held in custody for 1,273 days. So let me.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happens. If you're an American citizen and you don't have an ID on you, how do you not have an ID on you? Even if I don't leave the house, even if I leave the house with nothing but my phone, I still have my ID on my phone. So I don't even understand how the fuck that's happening. Because the first thing they do when they arrest you for being an illegal alien immigrant is they run your fingerprints. There's a new process. I'm pretty sure this is relatively new. So the current process is this: when they find you and you're an illegal alien immigrant, they check the database. They run your fingerprints. They run facial recognition. They run every single thing they can, and they even ask you your last name, your first name. Do you remember your passport number? Do you remember your social security number? I mean, you can look over it yourself. There's an entire process when they detain you. And also, if you were wrongfully deported, you can sue the government and get a lot of money. Like being sent on a plane, is not a big deal, but being held in jail for 1,000 days is fucked up. I mean, what can I say?
Okay, so I have an ACLU article.
Oh, they're
Talk.
terrible. They're cancerous. But go ahead.
Okay, I can find another source if.
Yeah, I hate the ACL.
Okay. Let's see. Because it's just giving. So what I've been finding is it's just going and giving me numbers instead of names.
And it's the same thing with the legal system. How many people do you think are wrongfully arrested? It doesn't mean we should abolish our entire legal system just because there's a couple
No, no, no.
mistakes.
Hang on. And see, I'm not saying that we need to abolish it. Like you had said, you're you agreed that it needs reform, and my position is they need more training, more de-escalation training, and I think that we need to change up our tactics on how we go about these things. But
Then what are we going to do? Knock on the door and say, "Hey, will you please turn yourself in?"
so that I don't have the answer to, but I think that we need to sit down and actually take a look into these kind of things, right? So,
A lot of people have had more harsher ideas. Like one guy yesterday told me, "Oh, we shouldn't catch and release them because if we catch and release them, then they're just going to come back in." But we've had very little border crossings in the last 12 months. And also, what are we going to do? Keep them in prison for life? Like if we keep them in prison for if we put them in prison for crossing the border illegally, first off, the first time you cross the border illegally, it's a misdemeanor. Second off, how long are we going to keep them in prison? I mean, if you just want me,
okay,
if you
so
just want to read, okay, you found something I was gonna say. If you just want to read that source, the other source, you can.
yeah, no, no, no. I went and found one that's actually got like a actual name too. So Brian Jose Morales Garcia. He was arrested in Texas by ICE and was deported into Mexico, but he was born in Denver. He has a birth certificate, and they went to court and looked
They
into
let him back
everything.
in. Yeah, I think I remember this guy. They let him back in like almost right away. What was his name?
Uh, Here, I'll go ahead and copy it. And Brian Jose Morales Garcia, I'll send it to you. But so there's at least
And
one case, you
and
know.
what year was
Um,
this?
2026, back in
Let's
April.
see. Let's see. It's because he denied opportunity to show proof. He denied them showing evidence. He said he refused to show any evidence, even though he was a U.S. citizen. The reason that he got deported is because he literally refused to cooperate. Like he just did it out of spite. So that's not even a wrongful deportation. If you ask me, that's 100% on him.
So would you?
It's like
And
this.
see,
It's,
this
it's,
is
it's
where
like this.
this
If a
is where.
cop comes up to you and says, let's say he says, "Well, where were you tonight? Where were you on Saturday night? Whatever time it is for you right now. Like, say you're suspected of a crime, and you have proof because you're on this live stream, so you can show this video and say, look, I was right here at this time. Here's the evidence. Instead of showing the proof, you just say, nope, I didn't do it. Believe me, and then they arrest you. Whose fault is that? You're supposed to present evidence that if you're innocent, you're supposed to present evidence that you're innocent. If you don't present the evidence and it's super easy, you don't even need a lawyer. All you have to do is say, here, look, this is my social security number, yada, yada, yada. Then that's on you. I wouldn't even consider that one a wrongful deportation. In fact, I think that dude probably deserved it because he was doing all that shit out of spite. He was doing every single bit out of spite, probably because he hates Trump and he hates ICE. So he just did that out of spite of them, in my
So
opinion.
when okay, so when somebody is stopped at a traffic stop and they say no, I don't want to show you my ID, you
It's,
think that they
if
should
if
be
you're
out?
crew if you're accused of a
Hang
crime,
on,
you have to
hang on.
present your ID. It's the law.
Okay, so if you're at a traffic stop and you get pulled over and you deny showing ID and you get arrested, you based off of what you were saying earlier, of he 100% should have been deported because he wasn't cooperating. Would you agree that he needs to serve if you refuse to show ID during a traffic stop, that you have to serve that sentence even though you were innocent?
What? Say the question again.
Okay, so you said that because he didn't cooperate and show identification, he deserved to get deported,
I mean,
right?
every state in the country, if you're getting pulled over during a traffic stop, you legally have to present driver's license upon request. Every single state. Every single state. So
Right.
that's the first law he broke. That's the first law he broke. The other laws he broke were, probably a bunch of other shit as well. But I don't even know.
Okay, so once again, you said he deserved to be deported, which
Yes,
would
he
be
broke
the
the
sentencing,
law.
right? Right, which would be the sentencing, right?
He didn't get a traditional sentencing. He just got,
Right, but
he got
for
another kind
comparison,
of punishment.
for comparison, this would be the sentencing, right? The sentencing would be you are going to be deported, right?
It's not a sentencing. No, it's just a mistake because he refused to cooperate. It was an easily avoidable mistake.
Okay. Right, but just stick with me here. It's
Are you asking
comparable.
me if they don't have a
Hey,
license? Are you asking? Go ahead. Go ahead.
is it comparable to say that the deportation is the sentencing for somebody who is being accused of being an illegal immigrant?
No, it's not. I just told you it's not. It was a mistake. It's not a sentencing. It's a mistake.
Okay, so
But
if
it was an
somebody is
easily
being accused,
avoidable mistake. It was on
hang
him.
on,
It's like if I
right?
burn my house down on purpose and then I say, "What the fuck happened to my house? Whose fault is it? It's my fault." Where's the self accountability? Because he refused to present any kind of identification in all 50 states. If you don't show ID, it's a misdemeanor charge automatically. If you're refusing to show identification or your driver's license, it's a misdemeanor charge automatically. So he was already a criminal.
Okay, so
He had criminal
let's
intent. He had criminal intent, so he has to face whatever consequences that come along, whatever consequences occur.
okay, so let's just remove it from this case. Okay, so let's jump into a hypothetical here. Okay, somebody is being accused of being an illegal immigrant and is detained as such. Would the deportation be the sentencing?
They have to go through the process. There's a whole
Right,
process they have to go to.
right, which would be the court case, right? But then the
No, before the court case.
deportation.
Way, way
If,
before the court case.
hang on. If you are deported, would that not be the end result of the crime?
Are you asking me if the deportation is a punishment for illegal alien immigrants? The answer is yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So you get stopped during a traffic stop and you refuse to provide ID. You can get charged with not showing ID, sure. But they charge you with the crime of doing, just for the hypothetical, 30 over the speed limit, right? And you get points on your license. You're saying you deserve to get the points on your license even though you weren't going 30 over, you actually got arrested because you didn't show ID.
What? You lost me. If you didn't break the speed limit, go to court and fight it in court.
Right. But
he refused to fight it, but he hit multiple times. It wasn't just showing the ID at the traffic stop. It wasn't just because when he didn't show the ID at the traffic stop, they brought him back to the deportation center and they said, "Would you like to give blood, or would you like to give a facial recognition, or would you like to give fingerprints, or would you like to give your social security number? Would you like to tell us your name or anything about you?" And he refused again. He refused multiple times. That's the only possible way this happened. He was defiant and he refused to cooperate multiple times. They literally told him, "Here, either give us your information or we're going to deport you." And he chose to get deported. This was literally a choice. This was 100% a choice. And if you think I'm lying, look it up yourself. Look up what is the process before they deport you. What do they check? What do they check? They ask you, would you like to take a facial recognition? Would you like to give us your name? Would you like to give us any information? They do biometrics. There's a billion different things they ask you if you want to do. And he denied every single one of them because he was combative and he thought that he would just be sitting in a jail cell fighting a court case. But that's not what happened. They just deported him right out of the country.
So he agreed to being deported because he wanted to get back home to his wife and daughter in El Paso. Sorry, not in El Paso. Sorry, hang on. Where did it go?
In Mexico. So he got a free trip back to Mexico. He got everything he wanted. He got
Right.
everything he wanted. He
Okay.
was the
The
he
rea-
so he did it
so the
on
reason
purpose. You just admitted to me. So that was not a wrongful deportation. He did it for a free trip home. He's abusing the system. He should be charged with
so
a felony. He should be charged with a felony for that because he's just trying to get free travel. He's just trying to get free airfare. He's literally just trying to get a free plane ticket home. That's what you just told me.
Okay, so the reason why I brought this up in the first place was because you had said that no American citizen has been deported because of Trump and his ICE
He got
administration in
deported because of
2025.
himself. He literally wanted a
Right,
free flight
but
home. It wasn't because of
okay,
Trump. It was because he wanted a free flight back to
was
Mexico.
he was he was he a U.S. citizen and was he deported by ICE?
Did he
Under
did he do it to get a ticket home? Yes or no?
I'm not asking
He
I'm
was
not asking about
abusing
the
the
reason
system. He
why.
was abusing the
Yeah,
system. He did it on purpose. That's like me
okay,
robbing a bank and
but
saying, that's like me saying, I'm going to go to jail today and I go rob a bank. That's my goal. That's literally my goal. It's not that they arrested me.
okay, so whenever he got so during the traffic stop, his whole reason for being in the car that got pulled over, he wasn't driving it, by the way. Um, the whole reason why he was in that car was to go ahead and get deported back to Mexico.
I mean, didn't you tell me in your own words that he wanted to visit his wife in Mexico?
So after the arrest, what happened was is he felt according to the article that I read, he felt pressured to answer their questions in the way that they wanted because he couldn't provide any documentation saying otherwise.
But he
But the
can.
entire
But he can.
okay,
Does he not know his social security number? He can run his biometrics. He had multiple opportunities to run his biometrics. That's not a lie. That's the truth. He did it on purpose. He refused to show his ID. He refused to give his social security number. He refused to probably even give his full name. He refused every single thing because he knew he was going to be getting sent back to Mexico. It's not,
but once again, the original claim was no American has been deported underneath Trump's
no, I said no
2025
American has been
administration.
wrongfully deported. He abused the system for a
That
free plane ticket home.
sure.
He abused the system for a free plane ticket home. I mean, shit, that does sound. Maybe I should try to self deport myself to somewhere in Europe for a vacation. That sounds like a good time. They would give me $2,000 and a free plane ticket. I should probably take them up on that offer and just say I'm illegal because those are some damn good benefits. I mean, free travel is some damn good benefits, especially they don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's all I gotta say. It's crazy.
Sure.
We're not all immigrants. That's a stupid talking point. I'm an immigrant because I've lived in multiple countries before, but the person that's been living in America all their life, they're not an immigrant. In fact, they're a Native American. They were
Right.
born in America, but they don't have Native American ancestry, but they're still a Native American. They're not an immigrant. They were born here. Their family's from here. They're native to the land. They might not be indigenous, but they're native to the land. I mean, it's just wild. And the whole argument about
Okay.
stolen land is retarded too, because Native Americans didn't even believe in property rights to begin with.
So one thing I want to bring up, because it's a big point, um, is the Epstein files. If you want to get into that,
What is there to talk about? There's no evidence. I'm not going to sit here and going back and forth about he
right?
said, she said.
So
I like to have
no, no, no,
fact-based
no, no,
debates.
no, no. I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna say that Trump's a pedophile because there's no evidence and this, that, and the other. Like I'm not gonna just make claims that officially haven't been released, right?
Are you
But
going to ask me if I
so
think the file? I can end this in 2 seconds. Do I think the files were mishandled? Yes, Pam Bondi did a shitty job. She got fired. Do I know what's going on now? No, but I heard the 3 million files they have are all pornographic images and all X-rated content of children. So I don't know what to say. There's nothing really to add to this conversation.
no,
None of
no,
us
no.
really know.
So, so, what I was gonna bring up is right as we were starting to kind of hit the peak of the Epstein files getting released and all of the court cases that were going in. That's whenever we decided to jump into the shit, so to say, with the South American country that I forget, Venezuela, right?
Are you trying to say it's a cover up? Everyone's still talking
No,
about
no,
the Epstein files. It's
no, no,
obviously
no.
not a cover up.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's a cover up. I'm just saying that since then everything's gone up. Like I haven't really looked into it after that because it hasn't been a talking point. And it hasn't been
Well, yeah. What else do you
a
want us to
very big
talk
thing.
about? What else do you want us to do? There's nothing. There's nothing to talk about,
So
unfortunately.
so so from my understanding, what happened was is we were releasing to the public about half of the files so far, and we were going to go through that, and that's whenever we were going to kind of dissect the first half. That second half hasn't been released, right?
Yeah, but if the second half has pornographic images of children, do you think that's going to be released to the public?
Right, and so
Don't
is
don't
there?
you think don't you
Oh,
think these don't you think the videos and the footage is going to be somewhere in the files? Because if they've made a whole list of all the evidence and everything they have, that means that stuff is going to be somewhere out there, and that kind of stuff is never going to be released. And even if it was released, that would be disgusting. Why the fuck would people even want to see that?
right, and so wouldn't you want to if there's pornographic images of children, wouldn't you want to go ahead and get the people who took those pictures prosecuted?
I agree, but I don't know what's true or false anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Right, so
I do
why
know
don't?
that we did try to
So,
prosecute. I know we tried to prosecute Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They had a whole deposition about Jeffrey Epstein, and they refused to answer any questions. So I mean, how are we going to arrest people when, some part of the government, rather it's Pam Bondi or it's someone else that has, Pam Bondi's the one that said she had the files. Why do you think she got fired? Isn't that a little bit suspicious that she got fired after people were blaming all the Epstein shit on her and saying that she's the one that said she had the Epstein files on her desk, and all of a sudden half of these files are, allegedly gone, and she gets fired, and all this weird, hocus
so I don't
pocus.
so I don't think that that's the actual reason why she got fired. I think it was because she did a really poor job in like explaining the files, and I watched a lot of the a lot of the footage from them talking about it, and of course I'm going to bring up the meme. Sorry, but whenever we're talking about the Epstein files and Pam Bondi ended up defaulting to, well, Trump can't be that bad because the Dow's up 500%. Like that's probably why she went and got fired because that's just a dumb deflection, right?
Yeah,
Um,
but plenty of people have said dumb stuff and they didn't get fired.
right. Well, it also seems like Donald Trump fires basically anybody who is either not a yes man or doesn't push the
Well,
narrative
she
that
was
he
a
wants.
yes man, and she was
Um,
pushing the narrative.
right,
So why did she get fired?
because she was doing a really poor job of
Okay, so
doing so.
who has been fired that wasn't a yes man? Who's been fired that wasn't a yes man?
So let's see.
And not to mention, if Trump was in the Epstein files, why would he be the only? If he was guilty of being a PDF file, why would he be the only president that has ever advocated to release them? If you were a criminal, would you say let's release my criminal records and my criminal wrongdoings? And by the way, Jeffrey Epstein got convicted back in 2006. Guess who was president? George W. Bush. Why didn't George W. Bush release all the Epstein files? Why didn't Barack Obama release the Epstein files? Why did Joe Biden talk about the Epstein files but never even release them? I mean,
Right.
there's multiple
So
questions you can ask. It's not just Trump,
right.
Trump, 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 Trump.
Right.
There's
No,
a
no,
lot of
no, no.
questions you
I'm
can
not saying that.
ask.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Yeah, I'm not saying that Trump's solely responsible for the handling
The way
of
I
the
look at
Epstein
it
files,
is
right?
releasing
But
something is better
so
than nothing because now people have
so
suspicions of our government, which they should have.
yeah. So to answer your question of who's been fired that wasn't a yes man. So Christy Nome was fired as
Kristi
Homeland
Noem was
Secretary.
definitely a yes man. Kristi Noem got fired
Sure.
because she got fired because of her dumb fucking mostly because of those memes popping up in that South Park episode of her shooting her dog. So that's like, but really bad publicity. That's one of the reasons.
So let's go with General CQ Brown, fired as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Okay, yeah, he probably was. He probably was not a Trump fan. I think he slandered Trump multiple times, if I remember correctly.
Admiral Lisa Franchetti,
Probably
dismissed
another
it
person that
alongside
was
with other.
slandering Trump.
Yeah, so anybody who talks against
I
Trump
mean,
or
obviously, your
or
generals. If
president.
if if your generals don't politically align with you, is that really someone that you want to have with you at war? Like, would you hire a general that was talking shit about you constantly, or would you fire them and replace someone that you can trust that's going to be at your side if America ever goes in like another world war?
So the reason why it's good to have opposing sides in your midst is because
Yeah,
you
no,
get
I
to see
agree it
things
is,
from a
but not in
different
the
lens. So,
military, not for the commander in chief. If you're talking about a senator or a vice president or someone else in cabinet, I think your military should be pretty much politically aligned with you.
so
What about the Iran war? How do you feel about that? Because we're talking about military stuff. I know a lot about the
I think
Iran war.
no, I think it was about time that we finally did something and tried to establish a regime change. We've been going back and forth with Iran for what 30-ish years, ballpark.
47 years.
Okay, but yeah, I think it was about time. But the way that we went about it, I don't think is the greatest. I think that we should have tried to be
Negotiate
more.
away the IRGC.
Yeah, I mean, trying to negotiate
I mean, how are
should
we
be.
going to negotiate with a government that killed 100,000 of their own people? I mean, I'm not going to go at you too hard because we pretty much agree with the Iran war, but there's a lot of stuff out there I can say, like Operation Warp Speed, or not Operation Warp
Yep.
Speed, sorry, Operation Stealing the Reality. That was done by Mossad back in 2018. They invaded Tehran and they found 100,000 documents of nuclear plans to build a nuclear weapon and target America and also Israel. But I mean, I think we pretty much agree. I don't see any other way to do it. Like it's unfortunate that human lives has to be lost, especially on the American side. The only thing I would criticize about it is I think we should go like Blitzkrieg. We should go Blitzkrieg on their ass. Completely just Blitzkrieg them. Like just fuck the
I,
shit out of them from every direction. And it'll be
well,
over soon. That's the best way we can minimize U.S. casualties. Just get it done, over with 1 week, done and over, done and dusted.
so my thing is, unfortunately, I don't think you can do that. At least not in this current administration, because Trump's one of Trump's biggest pushing points was no new wars, right? And so to
But you just said
do a
this
blitz,
conflict's been going on for 47 years. That was out of
right,
your own mouth.
right, but there's no declaration of war, and so if we were to go blitzkrieg on their ass, right,
No, it could
then
be a
we'd
special
probably
military
need it.
operation. I think we're using
Right, but if
5% of our military power right now. I think we're just using a measly 5%. If we step that up to like 15% or 20%, and we worked with Israel and they also used their fighter jets and controlled the airspace, I think it could be over really quickly. Maybe not in a week, but we could at least get it done in a month. We conquered Afghanistan in 1 month. I mean, sure, we were fighting against the Taliban and the other regimes in there. And I don't really agree with Afghanistan. I think Iraq was more of a better success because Iraq, you can look at the safety ratings. Like back in 2005, only 7% of the population felt safe going outside in their own country in Iraq. And now you fast forward to 2026, 86% of Iraqis feel safe going outside at night in their own country. So, I mean, the way that I think Iraq was a lot better,
so
but Afghanistan was
I
kind of
think
a failure with the pullout that we did was a disaster.
yeah, I think that you and I can basically agree in terms of military operations, but with going in full on blitzkrieg, I think that that would end up needing to be backed by a declaration of war. And unfortunately, with uh, Trump going and well, no, I'm just so I'm just going off of what your idea of the full on blitzkrieg tactic. And I think it's because we would need to. Uh, I'm probably gonna. So just for clarification, are you? And I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this name. The Kesham Islands. Is that the one that? Are you talking about? Is it in the? Yep, no worries.
Testing, testing.
Yeah, I can hear
Oh,
you.
you can hear me. Okay, now they can hear me. Great. Great, 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 great. Yeah, so I think it was like Kurgan Island. Maybe it's the same. I don't know.
So the other island that I'm seeing, is it the one in the Arabian Sea or is it the one that's in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Strait of Hormuz?
The Arabian Sea, because the Arabian Sea connects into the Strait of Hormuz. So
Yeah.
yeah, that should
So
be it.
are you referring to this? It's Socotra,
I don't
Socotra.
know. I don't know. I'm
Uh,
not
uh,
sure.
so either way, the next island that I'm seeing is Madagascar. So it's one of those two.
Yeah,
But
it has to be.
that or the Maldives. But
Definitely not the
I don't.
Maldives. Not the Maldives.
That'd be wild. We just show up at the Maldives. But no,
I
I
mean,
don't. I don't know if it's
They're
necessary.
Muslim island too.
um. So if they're Muslim, we got to go in and
No,
take
no,
them down.
they're peaceful. They're peaceful actually. They're actually pretty good people.
uh. Yeah. No. I think that we need to. I think there's been a lot of rhetoric and inflammatory rhetoric from both sides, and just in general, I think that we need to instead of learning. Instead of just shouting back and forth, I think we need to sit down and actually like go, hey, we need. There's these issues that both sides disagree or agree on. Let's sit down and actually have a conversation, figure out what the hell's going on, and how do we fix it for both sides. So
I agree.
it's
I guess
one.
the last thing I'll ask you before I let you go is what is some of your favorite progressive policies?
Um, let's see. So
Are you a advocate for single payer healthcare?
sorry, it got a little muffled. What'd you say?
Are you an advocate for single payer healthcare?
I think that would be a. I think that just healthcare in general, just universal healthcare, if we can push anything towards it, and I do understand that within the capitalist market, we can't really do a universal healthcare plan, but I think that moving towards something like that would be beneficial just in general. Uh,
I like the idea, but when I look at the numbers just don't make very much sense to me. I'm looking at things like the Congressional Budget Office, and they're telling me that it's going to cost between 3.8 and 4.7 trillion dollars. I mean, I'm just looking at that like there's no possible way for us to pay it. I even did the math. I even said if we stole every single dollar Elon Musk had, we stole $1 trillion from him and stole all the money from the billionaires in this country, we would be able to pay for single payer healthcare for about 1 year and 6 months. And that's actually like
yeah,
mind fucking.
yeah, and so obviously situations like that, like that's not gonna work, right? So if it's not sustainable, and then why would we try to like really push that? Now, would I say
We
like
should fix the
things like
healthcare system, though. I do agree. We should reform it.
yeah, like I think that so a little bit of anecdotal evidence. So my cousin, she's got diabetes, type 1, and so like insulin. That's something that I think that we should probably work on because without it she dies. So uh, with the price of insulin, I think that would be one thing that we could definitely work
I
on.
agree with that too because some of my family has diabetes, but didn't they pass some kind of bill that lowered insulin prices?
I don't know if they've really laid into it. I think
Yeah,
the last
it
time I
says right here that Trump passed something in the United States. In the United States, the out-of-pocket cost for insulin has significantly dropped compared to historical rates. It is $35 a month, becoming the standard benchmark for most patients. And that was
yeah, and
something that Trump passed.
yeah, and see, like I'm not on the side of literally everything that he does is wrong and it's evil and he's a horrible only cares about himself uh
I mean,
egoist. Like
everyone cares about
I
themselves, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, but I'm not.
I get what you're
I
saying. I get what
understand
you're
that there's
saying. Yeah.
nuance, is what I'm saying. So I think that utility and gas relief. So I'm just kind of going down the list of progressive ideologies and just kind of going, hey, these are the ones that I do support. These are the ones that I don't. So like utility prices, they've been going up a lot here, at least in my area,
What
quite a
would you
bit.
do to fix that?
Um,
Would you nationalize it, or would you just figure out how to lower the price?
so I think that one thing that we could do is to look into alternative energy. So I think that bringing back uh, old school water wheels, and establishing wind turbines more often, just stuff like that, or even go nuclear. Nuclear power is pretty successful so far. I live right next to a power plant, basically, and so that's where I get my power from. But because of uh because of Hurricane Helene, my utility prices have gone up, and I think that's just something that we could work on just in general. Um, so I think that just in general, lowering prices of things that people need, price of water and electricity, and gas. Like these are things that people need, and like I said earlier, the insulin, that's something that people need. So like, why not try to figure out how to make it cheaper?
Are you an advocate
Um,
for pushing us into electric cars? Like, do you think everyone should eventually drive an electric car, or how do you feel about that?
so my issue with electric cars is what happens 30, 40 years from now. What'll happen is we start having the batteries that won't charge because battery life is a thing. So what do we do with that extra batteries? That's the only thing that
Yeah,
uh,
I agree, but
I,
Tesla recycles all of their batteries, so they're really really good at recycling like almost 100% of their cars once they break down. They're inoperable anymore. But I can't say the
yeah,
same for the majority of electric car companies. That's definitely not the case. But yeah, I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. I think because it's a good idea. Once again, going back to that good idea fairy line, electric cars are good. It's just we need to figure out how to optimize. That's really it. Um,
And also another problem they have, because some of my family members have Teslas. Another problem they have is like the Tesla has a good battery. Some of them, like I think the best Tesla now has maybe 500 miles or maybe more than that. But still, even with 500 miles, the charging is a bit faster. Maybe it just takes 25 minutes instead of like an hour. But still, that's like 25. A lot of people don't have time for 25 minutes. So it eventually has to get good enough to charge like in 5 minutes. Like if it charges in 5 minutes to 500 miles, then that would be a great thing. But I still wouldn't mandate it. If someone wants to have a gas powered car, they should be able to have it.
yeah, no, I don't believe in mandating things, especially because classic cars like '67 Mustangs are fucking sweet. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
no kidding.
um, but yeah, nah. Yeah, I think that we just need to work on optimizing. Like you said, if we can reduce the charge time, that would benefit pretty much everybody. Or we could, or look into the flip side of it, where you need to figure out how to make that battery and motor run even longer. as efficiently. So
There's also
um,
hydrogen power cars, but a lot of people are worried about those exploding.
yeah, I get that. I definitely get that.
I think hydrogen
Um,
is kind of a stupid thing because even if the car doesn't explode, well, what about the people that transportate the hydrogen? Like those things can blow up too.
yeah. So
Anything
I don't
else that you
know.
can think of, or is that pretty much it?
Um, all right. Workers' rights, anti-monopoly stuff. That's pretty straightforward. You know, if somebody has a
Would you
monopoly.
tear any companies apart? There's a couple companies that piss me off. Honestly, YouTube is pissing me off. Google owns a shit ton of stuff, so that kind of like I mean, Google has already been tried multiple times to be charged with monopoly, and they've escaped out of it every single time. But I don't know. I don't know about any of that, honestly. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. So off the top of my head, I don't think I can think of any company that I would be like, we need to rip it apart and get rid of it, or even like subsidize it. Um, but I think that making sure that not a single company runs the entire market for something is always going to be beneficial because it keeps it competitive in
Yeah,
the
that's part
capital
of my
market.
problem with Google because there's no other platform that's even comparable to YouTube. Like YouTube
Well,
has such a market dominance; they control like 90% of the streaming market.
well, yeah, that's because Twitch ended up shit in the bed, right?
Yeah, yeah, and also Rumble, even though they've been picking up in the last couple of years, they're still shit. You have Kick, they're also still shit because they don't have enough money for marketing and promotion and to make a proper platform or a proper app. So like they're like running damn near a monopoly almost. Obviously there's competition, so it's not quite a monopoly, but they control like 97% of the market.
Yeah, it just seems like obviously over time there's going to be things that are going to be just the big dog in markets. So like you said, Google, Amazon is like the shipping company that everybody uses. But I mean, FedEx and UPS are still kicking around doing doing their thing. Um, uh, Blop Jones actually brings up a really good point. Kick is actually doing really good in terms of
Yeah, they
paying
pay
their
way better.
paying their
That's
streamers.
true. But
And
YouTube, the
so
thing about Kick and Rumble, another thing about them is the reason they don't have as much people going over on there is because when you stream on Kick or Rumble, they don't push it out on any for view page. Like you know how when you're on YouTube, you're just scrolling through shorts and you come across live streams. They don't have that
yeah,
on. They don't have that. Like there's no thing where you scroll and come across live streams. If they added that, that'd be a major plus.
yeah, and I think that's just overall and
They don't
a
promote your
first come.
content for you to get people on Kick. You either have to like get people
Yeah, you
over
have to
from
self
other
promote it,
sites.
right?
Yeah, you have to like promote yourself on Instagram or YouTube or whatever other platforms you're on to get people onto there.
Yeah, but I do think that at some point there is potential for Kick to end up incorporating the same things like YouTube. I think with YouTube, the reason why they've got such a big hold on the market is because they've just been around for so long, and you know,
Yeah, it's a legacy
uh,
name. It's a legacy
yep,
name. So
yeah. But
I
I
mean,
don't
I
think that
literally
would
remember
necessarily.
YouTube like in 2006, I think, or 2007. I remember when it first came out, it was like just mind-boggling thing. Like I watched those guys like Fred. You remember Fred with the squeaky voice? He was like the original pioneer of YouTube. You don't remember Fred, the squeaky voice
Oh yeah,
guy?
yeah, Fred. Uh, let's see,
He had
old
his own
school.
Nickelodeon show
Yeah.
too.
Why
Yeah.
do I feel like I heard about him dying? I don't
He's
know,
still
but
alive. He's gay though, but he had 1 million subscribers even before they had monetization on YouTube, which is crazy. He still
yeah,
posts to this
old
day
school.
actually, but he's just not very popular anymore.
Huh.
I mean, he still
So
gets way more views than me, obviously, but he's not
yeah,
like number one.
David Burke, stop calling me out, okay? I didn't want Graham to know that I was
Oh my
joy-
god!
I,
Oh my
I
god!
didn't want him to know that I was joiking
Oh
it,
my
all right?
god! Oh my gosh!
But But yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been a fun conversation. Like I said, it's at the end of the day, I think we need to stop going the right is wrong, the left is wrong, and I think that we need to start worrying about top down. I think that a lot of the issues that we have is billionaires and trillionaires going uh, kind of pitting the poor people against us against each other. So
I think it's
it's
an
kind of how
envy
I view it.
crisis. Everyone wants what the other person has. Everyone wants what everyone else has except their job. That's the only thing they don't want. But I'll let you go, brother. It was a nice conversation. Have a good evening, though. I really
I
appreciate it, though. It
appreciate
was
it.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having a respectable conversation. A lot of
Yep.
respect for you. I
You're out
wasn't
of
sure you were going to come on or not. I thought you ran away initially when you left the VC call. I'm like, oh, he said he had to go, but I don't know. Have a good one, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, man. That's
Peace
it.
out. All right, guys. We are. Is there any final questions, comments, anything anyone want to say? Drop some super chats. Drop some memberships if you guys want to show some love. It is Saturday night. But we're gonna hop out of here probably in 60 seconds or so. But make sure you subscribe. Unless one of y'all drops some love, we're gonna hop out of here. If someone drops some memberships or some super chats, we'll stay a little bit longer. If not, we're gonna hop out of here in a minute or two. What propaganda? What propaganda? Propaganda just means news. And thank you for Humbo Dunkus for coming to all the streams, man. Real good Democrat man. Real good Democrat man. Me and him go way, way, way back. Way back. Not really. I don't know who that is. But make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to subscribe, fellas. Freddy Krueger? Yeah, Freddy Krueger doesn't exist. Freddy Krueger doesn't exist, man. Oh, you're. Oh, sorry, you're not a Dem. Sorry, radical leftist. Radical leftist. My apologies. My apologies. Everyone, go out there and vote Republican in the midterms. That's my final message for everybody. Go out there and vote Republican in the midterms. I don't know. Just genetics. Just genetics, Chilia. Just genetics. Yeah, here comes the rooster. What the hell does that mean? I'm all with you. Fuck the left. Fuck the left. Even though that guy was very respectful, there's not much we really disagree on. I mean, I wish more progressives were like him. He was an old school progressive. He was more like the Democrats, like during Obama or even pre-Obama. We don't need good luck on the war. We're already winning the war. I can tell you that much. But I'm out of here, everybody. Have a good evening. I hope you enjoy.